right, welcome back to Spoiler Country. I'm Kenrick Regan. That's Johnny Horsley. And today on our show, well, it's On the Edge with Mike Peacock.
It's Peacock cock. It's Peacock cock.
I was so hoping you could do that through this intro without doing that.
Nope, couldn't do it. I told you it's like second nature, man. It's involuntary now.
It's like it's a twitch. It is
a twitch. It just happens. I can't stop it. I'm sorry, Mike. I'm sorry.
It's like Tourette's.
It is. It's Peacock.
Peacock Tourette's.
I saw him recently. I went and saw him because I bought a Shure Super 55 from him for my wife for the Y2CR radio podcast. And
yeah, so nobody knows what a Shure 55 is. Why don't you tell you what that is?
So the standard microphone you see in almost every freaking old radio show or any old timey singers using, that's a Super 55.
It's the Elvis microphone.
Yeah, there you go.
It's the microphone that he's singing into when he does like "Ain't Nothing But a Hound Dog."
Yeah, exactly. It's this one has the blue inlines to it, and it's super sexy, and it's actually in the logo for Y2CR radio. So I figured if it's in the logo, I should probably get one. You know?
Yeah, it's cool stuff.
Yeah,
it's actually really cool stuff.
We haven't used it yet, but we have it. It's on my desk.
Yeah, and why not? Why haven't you used it yet?
Because I've been so busy, dude. I had to hammer out 5 pages for Jen Arledge's trial run comic book that the girls and I were a part of.
Something that you knew months ago, whatever.
Shh, don't. Just because it was on the glass KSB.
On the docket forever.
It was on the KSB, and I was called out in it to do it. Doesn't mean I knew about it. God. It's okay if I forgot.
So, we're here for Mike Peacock.
Yeah, this is an episode I'm not on.
No, you're not, because this was born out of the podcast Signal Boost number 2, and I suggest everybody to go back, and if you haven't listened to it, go listen to that one. You find out about some cool podcasts that you might not have known about. It's kind of cool.
Right.
But Peacock being a buddy since I was like 15, our conversation obviously ran over the 10 minutes that we try to keep him to. And it became
you guys make fun of me.
Yeah, well, you kind of set him up. So you set it up, we knock it down.
I did, but whatever.
We didn't make fun of you. We just talked about
after episode 100, I'm taking the intro back. You know that, right?
No. So
I'm taking it back.
Taking what back?
The intro. After episode 100, I'm taking it back.
Okay, that's weird, but all right. No, it's all good. So, but it's just funny because we were talking, and then before we knew it, we had like an hour.
Yeah,
we
it's
talked
good
about
stuff.
a lot of stuff, and he's an interesting cat, and he has his own podcast, which is really cool, called On the Edge with Mike Peacock, and he's a ranter, and he's been that way since I've known him. He just goes off on stuff, and it's hilarious.
It's great. His show is great. It cracks me up.
Yeah. So
his one about internet security and the one about sex dolls with his wife. Those were funny. Those were great.
Oh yeah, the sex dolls one that him and his wife did is an instant classic.
Yeah, it is. It really is.
I was like, what? I wasn't ready for it.
Right.
But just all the stuff that's out there too. It's like, oh my God, I had no idea that they had this much stuff out there.
He put in some good research for that.
Yeah, he did. He really did.
I mean, is he shopping for one, or is it just because he wanted to know? I don't know. I'm not.
You never know with that guy.
I'm not judging
even
Mike.
Gonna ask.
Yeah, I mean, what him and his wife do in their bedroom is their own business.
Right.
But would it be a threesome if it's a sex doll?
You know what, man? I don't even want to discuss sex with you.
Oh, come on.
It gets too weird. I don't want to do it.
It's too weird, too quick. All right. It's too real. Got it. All right. Let's move on. So, Mike Peacock.
And the fact that he's got cock in his name just makes it even harder.
It just nice. It makes it even harder, right? I like
you
it.
like that? You like that?
Good. Any hope of us ever making the show like PG-13 is never going to happen.
Gone. Well, this episode at least.
Right.
I'm actually curious what people think about that. Should we go PG-13 and keep the swearing down to open it up to a larger audience, or do we just? But then there's a part of it being, is that fake?
Right. I mean, my personal opinion is we don't push it to be PG-13. We don't push it to be R. We just do whatever comes out, whatever comes natural.
Yeah, but if we just do whatever comes out, then it's automatically R.
Well, yeah, but I mean, I'm not gonna push the envelope and like make more nasty comments just because I can. I just talk about my talk.
Right. Yeah. No, that's true. It's an interesting dilemma that we're always facing.
Right. I honestly, I don't care. Well, ultimately, we're going to do what we want to do because it's our show.
Yeah.
until someone else is paying us to talk, then they can make decisions for us. But until then, we do what we do.
Yeah, that's probably a long enough intro. So let's just get into Peacocks.
All right, fine. All right, here's Mike Peacock and Kenrick talking without me because I wasn't invited
or available.
One of those two is true.
Hi, this is Mike Peacock from On the Edge with Mike Peacock. And my show is about kind of me ranting about, I guess somebody referred to it as the comedy of the human condition, and I really like that. But I think it's really about calling out just the crazy aspects of society, the ridiculous things people do, the ridiculous things and ways that people respond. And so it's kind of like this weird, interesting dichotomy of half rant session about me just bitching to the void and half balancing that out for my own mental yin and yang by sharing other people's awesomeness with the world. So I like to have, bands come on, share some music, or people talk about their projects. And I'm really passionate about, if you're going to bitch and complain about the way that life is going, which I love to do, you should also be prepared to say, well, what are you doing about it? And so for me, my counterbalance is, well, I want to show people that it's not all negativity in the world, and you can kind of have fun at other people's expense and have fun at your own expense, but you should do something to kind of balance out the cosmos. So that's kind of my whole concept there.
Nice. That's funny, man, because I listen to yours all the time, actually. You're one of the few, because working full-time and then doing this full-time,
yeah.
I don't always have the chance to listen to every single podcast that, with the people that we know. I listen, I try to listen to everybody, and I do that, once a week I'll try to listen to somebody new.
Sure.
To bring it around, but you're one of the only people I have on rotation.
It's a really tough thing because, well, number one, you and I have known each other for a long time, and so I definitely feel more of a connection with you in the sense that we started our shows at close to the same time frame, and
within a month of each other.
Yeah, and we kind of we have some of the similar interests in the sense of comics and pop culture, media, things like that.
In music and everything. Well,
absolutely.
Plus
and
known each other since high school.
Sure.
Oh, actually, before high school.
Yeah. And it's really hard because there are some crazy talented shows out there. And I've been listening to podcasts for a really long time, since before I started doing one. But you're right. You can really only put so many into a consistent rotation. I listen to one here or another one there from some people that I really like. And, I subscribe to a lot of shows and I follow a lot of shows. But it's really hard to commit to, hey, I'm going to listen to every one of your episodes, on a consistent schedule, right. And so it really comes down to, if I have 100 friends who are podcasters and I listen to one of their shows every week, I can't listen to 100 podcasts a week. Just mathematically,
right.
it's
impossible.
Fucking impossible. So, yeah.
Yeah.
So, sorry, guys.
That's what I do.
I love all your shows. I try to listen to everybody's shows as much as possible. So, if I miss anybody, it's not out of ill intent.
Right. Exactly. What I do now is if I go through and I meet somebody and I'm like, oh yeah, they have a podcast, or we're part of a Facebook social media experiment, so to speak, of helping each other build each other out, which is great. And there's a lot of good ones on there. And what I find that I do is I can't listen to all of them. That's impossible. So what I do though is go through and I read the titles and read some of the synopsis of their episodes.
Sure.
It says, oh, that's one I kind of want to check out.
Absolutely.
And that seems to work well for me.
Yeah.
So how'd you get into podcasting, man? What was your catalyst?
Oh man, catalyst. What was the big bang, if you will?
Yeah, the big bang, if you will.
Well, so I think kind of like, well, you and I have talked about this, on the episode that you did with me when you and Johnny came on the show, but and then over multiple sources, you and I have kind of had the same story. But I would say at one point I was kind of in a funk. I don't know if I go as far as say is that I was, depressed, but, definitely I'm a pretty anxious person. I have a lot of anxiety, and right. I'm busy and I have a very high stress life. And I was at a place where just I felt like I was working towards nothing. Like there was just so many things in motion, but nothing was really finishing. My wife and I we had such just crazy stuff going on. And, the work schedule was hectic and just, any number of things that kept you from really doing what you needed to do to feel like you had a creative outlet, which is funny because I've been a musician almost all my life. And if there's, for me to say that I didn't have a creative outlet when I'm surrounded by all this musical gear, and you've seen it, but it was really a matter of execution. And so me being the kind of person that just my brain works in a fashion where when I start processing information, I have to feel like that process is going somewhere. And so it was like all these thoughts in my head were floating around in the ether, right? They were just bouncing around all over the cosmos, doing weird random stuff.
Right there, ready to be plucked.
Yeah, absolutely. So I don't remember exactly what the straw that broke the camel's back was, but I just remember, I think I was listening to Adam Carolla one day, and I'm a big fan of Adam Carolla, and that guy just, from the second he gets on that microphone, all he does is just bitch, just rant. And
that's kind of been his thing his whole career,
yeah, always.
Right?
And he does it in a fashion that it's funny, and it makes you go, yeah, man, that's just really fucking stupid. And then between him and like Dennis Miller, I go, dude, I could do that, because that's kind of what I've been known for, is that I just, and then even the name of the show, On the Edge, that people were always telling me, man, you're just on the edge today, And so I get a lot of criticism. Some people think that the name for the show is, kind of generic and whatnot. I'm like, well, I don't know about that, but I go, that's just me. That's just how I am, and it just kind of fit. So I rolled with it, and it's true. I do like to kind of just call out the ridiculous things in the world. And so I sat down one day, and I had this idea that I would just press record and just quit talk about doing it. Just fucking do it, right? I didn't even have any content. I didn't have anything planned. I literally sat down at my desk and I pulled up the old. I was GarageBand, actually. The first episode I did was in GarageBand, and
oh man,
yeah, I just
which is kind of shocking that you would use GarageBand.
I know.
For how long you've been doing recordings and
right. Well, at the time I was using Reaper.
Producing.
Yeah, I wasn't using Pro Tools yet at the time. I had it, but I hadn't really messed with it yet. And so I was going to go Logic, but I just I'm going to record this just to see how it turns out. So I turned on, just turned it on, and I hit record, and I didn't even have anything planned. I just said, I'm just going to say whatever goes on my mind. It was like total stream of consciousness. And I let loose about just random shit for about an hour and a half, right? And it ended up not being an episode, but what it did was, after I listened to the playback of it, I was like, okay, this is dumb, this is dumb, this is dumb, this sounds like garbage, this is stupid, this is fucking retarded. And then, but then I go, oh, but that's cool, that's funny, this was funny, and my wife came down, and I played it back for her later on, and she's like, wow, that's actually pretty good. And so what I ended up doing was taking a portion of that and deciding, okay, what route am I going to go? I didn't even know what format I was going to go with. I didn't even know what I was going to have a theme for a show or anything. And so I just basically said, okay, well, I definitely like to just, bitch to the void. I like the boogie. So yeah, talking to the ether, as Kaminsky calls it. Yeah, that was.
Shout out to Bacon Awake, Steve Kaminsky.
I love that guy. So, by the way, totally off the subject, but Kaminsky and I are going to do a motorcycle trip, and we're going to do a motorcycle podcast. Nice. We're going to go on a road trip, and
you guys should be good together.
Dude, it's going to be amazing. And I don't know what we're gonna. Hey, Steve. So we were, or I should say, I was going back and just replaying that episode in my head, over and over and over again, and just realizing, I can use this, I can use that, I can't use this, and I can't use that. So what ended up happening is I was bitching about protesters. That was in that particular frame of mind that I was in on that particular day.
What was going on in June for protesting? Was it the whole Wall Street 1%?
No. At that time, there was well, there was multiple things happening, but the thing that fucking tipped me over the edge in that case was you probably heard the story about, some people were dying on their way to the hospital because people were not letting ambulances get through. They were blocking roads. And,
that's messed up.
It was like, hey guys, I get it. You got your cause, you got your beef, you got your thing in the world that you have to make your fucking point about, but let the ambulance get through, right? I mean, there is zero in my brain. There is no justifiable cause for you to literally intentionally block an ambulance from getting through. Ambulances are not politically driven. This is not a matter of I don't like what this guy's beliefs are, so I don't want him to get to the hospital. But that's exactly what was happening. Was that
even if you don't agree with the guy's beliefs are, you don't block them. I mean, that's life and death.
And that's where, in my mind, people officially crossed the line. And so there was a lot of things going on that was kind of during the height of a lot of like the BLM movement was gaining a lot of traction. And locally there was but I even called it out, in this particular area, there was a BLM movement that was doing it correctly. I mean, they had protesters, but they were at the source, right? They were at the police station, which is basically the source of that whole movement's, beef is with the police. But they weren't in the road, right? They weren't laying down in the fucking road like idiots. They weren't, smashing things. They weren't looting. They weren't breaking bottles on people's faces. They were just...
It wasn't a revolution.
No, dude. It was the way that a protest should be, where you're calling attention to what you have a problem with, but you're doing it in a fashion that's going to get people on your side. Right. And I said, for me, the whole thing about the protests at that time was people were just doing dumb shit just to say that they were doing it, but they didn't have a cause. They didn't have a logical plan of action. Right. So,
I think a lot of that is the self-proclaimed anarchists.
Yeah,
that came up during like when the WTC, WCO?
WKRP.
Yeah, in Cincinnati. Remember those riots? The WKRP in Cincinnati riots?
I was there in 77.
In Cincinnati. I used to have the hugest crush on
Lonnie Anderson.
On Lonnie Anderson.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah, she was the shit. Yeah. So
she was. No, remember we had the oh my God, in the 90s in Seattle, the World Health Organization riots.
Yeah.
And it was all peaceful until like quite a few self-proclaimed anarchists from Oregon came up, and all of a sudden that's when violence started happening. That's when storefronts started getting broken into and all this stuff. And then the cops came out with their billy clubs and their shields and the tear gas. I mean, it looked like a full-on war zone that on Capitol Hill during that time.
Yeah, dude, it was crazy. So, the idea for me was to not do a political show. That's never been my thing. I'm really uncomfortable talking about politics unless it's in the right setting.
I'm the same way, man.
But that being said, there are some crossover points that are really more about society versus about politics. And in this case, that was the angle that I was trying to take. And, so that first episode really was me just kind of finding out, after I recorded that initial stream of consciousness, then getting in there and basically doing that first episode was pretty therapeutic for me, pretty cathartic, I think, for me. And the aha moment came after I stopped recording. And I think that first episode was it's barely a half an hour, really short as far as the rest of my podcasts are concerned. And so, but I thought it came out really good in the sense that I had no plan for it. I didn't even know what the hell was going on,
When you and I started talking about podcasts and I told you that I was starting mine and you're like, oh my God, I have mine. And we were going back and forth because it was kind of funny because we lost contact for a long time.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it was shitty. And I used to get on Facebook and look for Michael Peacock, and I couldn't find you.
Yeah, I avoided.
And I don't know.
I avoided social media. I mean, to this day.
Is that what it was?
Yeah, no, that's exactly what it was. I detest it, to be honest with you. I fucking hate it.
Yeah.
I hate Facebook.
Yeah, I don't blame you.
I hate Facebook. Twitter, to me, is a fucking pile of randomness. And I can't figure it out, man. My Twitter feed is just filled with nonsense. And I'm like, it's so hard to decipher that stuff. So,
dude, Johnny does 99% of
oh, man.
social media because he likes it. He loves it, and I'm the same way as you. I get disgusted by the stupid posts that people put on.
Man.
People believing fake news when it's like that is so obviously fake.
So bad.
Why are you like listening to this?
So bad.
You know.
Yeah.
And then it's just I don't know. I get sick of it, and there's a lot of times that I just want to turn it off. I'm like I don't even want to get on there, but then. I do have a lot of friends on there, and it's easy to keep in contact. Like I said, I was trying to find you for like the last 10 years. I all the time. Michael Peacock. Fucking doesn't come up. Michael Peacock. And then I'd go to all of our mutual friends, Mark Shoemakers, and nothing is. Nope. And then I'd try to find other people like Paul Zimmerman. He's not there.
So what you're saying is you tried to Facebook stalk me.
I did. I totally tried to Facebook stalk you. Will not deny that, man. I totally tried because we were close.
Yeah,
we did a lot of shit together, especially in high school. A lot of stupid stuff.
Stupid shit.
And yeah.
Listen, in fact.
And then when you popped up, I was like, oh my God. And then we started talking and it was like, oh, I'm going to do this podcast. I'm like, I'm doing a podcast. And so I listened to your first episode and I got to tell you, the first thing I said to myself was, fuck, he's got a great voice for this.
It's funny, and we're all really, I think, hypercritical about the way we sound. We all think that we sound nasally and stupid, and in your case, you sound like an idiot. I'm just saying. Cut that out, you motherfucker. So
what a way to cut the ego right there, man.
No. I mean, I sound awesome. You sound like shit. It's cool.
I say that to Johnny all the time.
Yeah.
What? I sound great. Yeah. You sound like
you need to get a new microphone. Yeah, I think I finally when I broke down and I remember what happened was my wife was doing some research and she's got some stuff
on sex dolls.
That was different research, but this is prior to the sex doll
episode was awesome.
That was really fun, by the way.
I bet it was hilarious.
She was doing some research for a book that she's been wanting to work on for a long time, and so what I had done was because she was in the process of wanting to contact multiple companies and she had nothing. She had no social media. She doesn't even really like email that much. So I basically set up a Facebook page for her for this, and then people started and I said, this is supposed to be just for this side of your business, right? And then it didn't turn out that way. It just turned into one big thing for everything, and people started connecting with her, and she's like, oh, I found this person. Oh, I found this person. Oh, I found this person. And I was like, oh, well, that's
not what it's supposed to be.
Yeah, but then I was kind of like, okay. And then so it took like a year or so after that, and I finally I don't even remember why. I just broke down and I set it up, and then I was like, if I'm going to do my show, I have to have some way to promote it. I mean, I'm not going to email everybody I know. I was like, look at my podcast. It's really cool. So I said I should set up a Facebook page. And then I said, so I set up a personal page, and then I set up the Facebook. I set up the Facebook page for the podcast before I even had the podcast. In fact, I set out the thing. I was like, hey, I'm going to do this podcast. What should I call it? And all these people sent me all these ridiculous names. And that first episode, I even talked about some of them that were just ridiculous.
Yeah, I remember that.
So
yeah.
That was really fun because here I am starting the podcast, and I'm talking about, here's what I'm going to call the podcast, but here's all of your guys' ideas for what I should call it. I couldn't even get to them all because there were so many that people sent me that were either really bad, really good, or just funny as fuck. And
you're right.
Yeah, right. So that was a blast, just kind of going back and reading over some of those ideas.
It's kind of a cool way to do it. I kind of wish we would have done that because we're talking, and then we threw some shit out there, and then Johnny just like stuck on Spoiler Country.
Yeah.
And so that's what we ended up going with. He was pretty passionate about it. So I was like, all right, well, I'm not going to, you're passionate about it, so we're going to do it. That's what it's going to be. And then, and it's worked. I mean, it's worked great. So, I mean, people have, we've gotten compliments on it. So I guess that's good enough.
I think as a society and as a culture, we really kind of overthink a lot of stuff. And, I sat around like, what should I call it? What should I call it? You put so much credence into some of these things. And you're just like, at the end of the day, it doesn't matter if you don't do it, right? You still got to, call it Mike's Pile of Shit podcast. And I could still do in fact, that's probably a better name for it. Let's be honest. Mike's Pile of Shit podcast. But
well, at least you got one part, right?
So, whoa, huzzing, folks, I'll be here all week. So, yeah, I was like, there's that eternal quest that you go on for perfection. Oh, I got to have the right microphone. Oh, I got to have the right computer. I got to have the right interface. Oh, I got to have the right
microphone
setup.
thing is the worst.
Oh, I got to make sure it's the right time. I got to make sure I have the right channels open. I got to make sure I have all these contacts in place. If you do that, you will never do a goddamn thing in life. I promise you that. Because I spent fucking years talking myself out of things instead of talking myself into things. And that was really, I mean, just one day I was like, my wife's like, just fucking do it. Just quit fucking saying you're going to do it and actually do it, And I
put
did.
something together and do it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, it's funny because you say it like that because Johnny bugged me for a year to do this, right? And when we first started talking about it, basically after we saw Kevin Smith, we had kind of talked about it, and then we saw Kevin Smith, and then that's when we really got motivated to do it. And he was like, just use your earbuds. And I recorded myself using the earbuds. I'm like, I'm not doing this. That sounds like ass. And I go and listen to somebody else, and I'm like, I'm not putting that out with my name on it.
Right.
No way. And then I started doing research, and he goes, just get the Blue Yeti. And I started doing research on the Blue Yeti. And a lot of people, and I have to admit it, mostly YouTubers, are all about the Blue Yeti.
Right.
And I was like, cool. Okay, I'll go get it. And then we do our first freaking podcast, and he pulls out this nice condenser mic with the mixer and everything, and he sounds like boom. You know what I mean? And I'm on this USB mic with no fucking low end that completely tenonizes my voice, and it just sounds like shit. I'm just like, oh, you got to be kidding me. It sounds good enough,
sure,
right? Like, but when he's on a condenser and then going through a mixer and it sounds great, and it's just like there's too much disparity there.
Yeah,
especially when you go back to
my first episode was recorded with a Yeti. People
really?
Absolutely. That, in fact, my profile pic, if you go back and look at it, if you see the uncropped version that I have cut out, there's just me in front of my fucking Yeti, So
was it the USB or was it the Pro?
Use a USB. I had a Pro as well. Actually, the USB Yeti is better than the Pro. Yeah,
really?
It has better gain.
Well, now I have the ATR 2100, which is a USB mic. Yeah. I'm sure people are loving this section of this conversation, but
listen to us. We are experts.
Listen to us. But the ATR 2100, you actually messaged me like the next day, the first time I used it. You're like, dude, did you get a new mic? You sounded awesome. Yeah. And I'm like, dude, it was all USB.
Yeah.
He's like, you were like, I'm kind of shocked.
And I guess, that's the moral of the story is, equipment, it's fun. It's toys, right? It's more shit to make you feel better about yourself. But really, you can record a podcast with your phone and no microphone.
You can.
You can do it. I mean,
yeah, you could.
So if you wait until you have the perfect gear or the perfect time or the perfect setting or the perfect story or the perfect experience or the perfect catalyst to start it, you are never going to fucking do anything, right?
That's right.
And so Blue Yeti, use your fucking Blue Yeti, man. I say go for it. I like,
especially if you have multiple people, you guys all have Blue Yetis, then you're golden.
Yeah, exactly. So, it's at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter what you're using, and that's what and part of what took me so long to get my show going was I was like, okay, well, I want to do this first, and I want to do that first, and I want to have this, and I want to get this, and I want to set this up, and just like, fuck all that, man, just do it, and then evolve as you go. So, I mean, if you go back and listen to your first couple of episodes, you're just like, wow, that sounds okay. And then you listen to your stuff now and you're like, hey, my flow is better. My energy is better. It's the conversations are more natural. I'm not as nervous. I'm not stuttering. I don't say every 5 seconds. And it's a progression. So, as you progress, upgrade your shit, or don't. It doesn't matter. I mean, Kaminsky used that microphone for who knows how long. That guy fucking smashes it every week. Not only did it work for him, it just worked because, I mean, his success of his show has nothing to do with what he was using, right?
Yeah, no, not at all. It was all Steve, all personality.
Absolutely. And, building connections and talking to people and putting people together and, kind of like what you guys are doing with your new podcast Signal Boost is it's the same thing as, it's your giving people an opportunity to kind of hear shows that they may or may not have otherwise listened to. And, it's not about how does it sound. It's not about it's content is king, right? I believe that 100%. Right. I mean, you could record in your bathroom while you're taking a shit and your show will probably sound better than mine. But, as long as
you get those awesome bathroom acoustics.
Absolutely. Bathroom reverb is the best. And, as long as what you're doing is engaging, people are going to listen to it. I mean, unless it's just so off-putting that it's like broken, nobody's really going to care. The only people that are really going to care are people that are like
audiophiles.
Gear snobs, audiophiles, people that are like, oh my God, his compression, he's squashing his signal too much, Oh, I bet he's running at 44.1 instead of 48, per our conversation.
Not even knowing what that really means. And plus, once you've mixed it and put it on there, who fucking cares?
Yeah. So if that wasn't a, what do you normally call, like the tangent of tangents?
That's our. Those are our episodes where we don't have anything to talk about, and we literally just hit record and go.
Yeah, stream of
those are fun.
Stream
man.
of consciousness.
We've done 2 of them so far, and we have a third one in the bank.
I think there's also a huge difference in like my approach to my show, because I do have that weird kind of schizophrenic split about my concept. When I talk to the ether and it's just me, I get really deep on shit, right? My last episode kind of bordered on political as well. But when I have guests on the show, I mean, the entire dynamic is different. It changes the pacing, it changes the tone, it changes everything. And sometimes it's hard for me because I'm so used to just saying what I'm going to say without regard or consequence. And
well, you've never really had a filter.
Yeah, I'm pretty unfiltered. Yeah. So, fuck, that would be a great name for a show, wouldn't it? Unfiltered with Mike Peacock.
That would have been a great.
So, it's probably already taken. It's funny.
Yeah, I think there is one called Unfiltered.
But
something.
Yeah, fuck it. So that's for me. I think the thing that keeps me going though is the not really knowing what's next. I'm not in a position time-wise where I can record every week, and sometimes even 2 weeks slips by me, and it was 3 weeks since I did the sex doll episode with my wife, and I'm like, man, dude, I gotta get an episode out, man. I gotta.
I didn't know it was that long.
Yeah, absolutely. And my initial concept was once a month, and because once a month, I just think like I would have a bunch of crazy shit that would happen in my life, and then I'd have content. I mean, that would be how it works. And so now
you wouldn't last on our schedule.
Oh my God, dude, I can't imagine. You guys blow my mind with how often you record.
You know what we do though? You know why though? What happens is everybody goes to bed in the house. Everybody goes to bed at Johnny's house, and then we were like queuing each other. Q is what is the instant messaging program we use at work. So I'm constantly saying queuing. But we Facebook each other. We instant message each other, and we're like, "Hey, you up? Yeah, you up? Yeah, you want to record? Yeah, let's do this." And I drive down to the office, which luckily is only like 1.5 miles, 2 miles from my house, and we record.
That's nuts.
Yeah, or I get off work and nobody's around. And he's like, "Yep." He'll go out to his car to get away from the kids
because he has 20.
Because he's got he literally has 5 kids, and they're building the house that they're moving into. Right. And so they're living in a small house right now while that one's getting built, and they're living in like a 2-bedroom manufactured home. So so he has no privacy there. And so either he has to wait for everybody to go to bed, then we record, or he goes out to the car and we record while he's in there.
Yeah.
And that's what we do, man. And the thing is I don't know, man, I just love doing this. So it's easy. It's like, let's
just do it. It's awesome. Yeah. I think we've hit home on it a few times, but if there's one thing that I get out of doing the show, it's that it does provide kind of a break from the norm. It's definitely self-therapy for me. In some form, I need it to retain my sanity. And I always said, even if not one person listened to this, I would still be doing this because it's it's that thing that, like when they say if you were to sit down and write a letter to somebody that you've wronged in the world, or write a letter to somebody that you've got something you want to say, right? And you're never going to send that letter, right? So this is me.
Right.
This is me sending my hate mail to the world. That's, all the shit that I need to get off my chest is
that's funny.
That's kind of the initial concept for me. That's my Zen point.
That's your Zen point. That's what gets you back to center.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, that's cool. I mean, because you go through your episodes, and if anybody has a chance, get out there and listen to Mike Peacock, On the Edge with Mike Peacock. And I don't know, man, I listen to your stuff, and your rants crack me up.
Yeah.
Because it's just like, one, I can see your face saying all this stuff.
Dude, you should see me gesturing when I'm talking, because my arms are flailing, So I've got...
Yeah, man, I'm the same way.
I got a GoPro a long time ago, and the intention was to physically do these as video, right? This was supposed to be something I put up on YouTube. And luckily for all of you people out there in Cyberland, I'm fucking mechanically retarded and can't figure this thing out half the time. Otherwise, this would be out there. But at some point, I know this is going to be a thing where I literally start filming this and and kind of putting it out there
on YouTube.
I think it's funny. That's
or Daily Motion or something.
The look on my face, I'm sure you can picture it. And the spit's flying and the veins are popping and the arms are flailing and the drinks are spilling, and it's just a pile of craziness, and who knows what's going to flow out of this fucking bean pod.
I think that's great, man. I mean, you're having a lot of fun.
Yeah.
I'm the same way, dude. You should see me flailing my arms, and I do, like 99% of the time I do our intro.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh, I'm going to do my Kendrick impression.
Yeah.
Welcome back to Spoiler Country. I'm Kendrick Regan. That's Johnny Hortley.
I love it. That's going on our previous
yeah, right. That's amazing.
So I started doing that, and the funny thing is every once in a while I get somebody that does that to me, like Steve Kaminsky did it to me, and now and you and it's just, I don't know, it starts the energy level.
Yeah. Well, what it's become. It's become a signature.
Right. It's become a signature. And Johnny goes, "Hey, I want to do the intro like 20 episodes back, maybe even less than that." I was like, oh, all right, in my head, it was fine. And then he did it, and I'm like, I can't do this, dude. I have to do it.
You are fired from the intro.
Yeah, he started laughing. He got it. He was like, I get it.
Welcome back to Spoiler Country.
Oh, yeah, dude. He's just not
this is John, and Kendrick's over there doing stuff. Thanks for listening. I mean, I don't know if that's what it actually sounded like, but
no. I mean, he does a fine job. It's not like it's bad or anything like that. It's just the energy level isn't the same. Yeah. And I feel like when you start off that way, it sets the tone for the rest of the podcast.
It's really funny. I get all of my life. I've kind of been criticismed. I've been criticismed. I've been criticized because I really like to delve into detail. I like a build up, right?
Yeah.
I like things to build up slowly and naturally. And And a lot of times this medium just wants things bang right in your face, just go from the get go. And so
right. Well, a lot of people just want that instant gratification.
Yeah. I mean, my intros tend to be longer than other people's intros, especially the first dozen or so episodes. It really took me a while to get going on them. But I guess I kind of felt like I was telling a story, like, let me give you the buildup. Let me tell you what this is going to all be about. Let me break this down to the music and get the vibe going. And, and then I was just like, man, my episodes, some of these are like an hour and a half. And, I really try to, I tell myself I'm going to keep them to an hour. And occasionally I can do it. But, once I start building.
I don't even care.
I don't really care so much. But I mean, if I have like a 3-hour solo episode of nothing going on, this is too fucking much, right? It's just like nobody.
Well, then you should care.
Nobody needs to listen to me for that long. That's just torture. So, I just there's definitely been an evolution in the way that I approach the show and in the things that I want to say, and I still want to stay true to the initial roots of the show, which is, I still got stuff on my mind. I still got things I feel like I want to address. And it's not just that I want to bitch about them, it's that I want to question them. I want answers. Why are people so fucking stupid? Why, Kendrick?
Yeah.
Why? That is what drives me.
It's genetics,
Oh,
man.
man. Every day in my life, I just see this pile of
You just wanna, like, kill
stupidity. I just
people.
want to, yeah, I don't know. I want to hang people up on like a laundry line and just let them flow in the wind until all that,
Just take 'em
all
out.
the stupidity blows out of them. But yeah, it's just not going to happen. It's just,
You know what I like though on your episode, on yours, is the music that you
Yeah.
do. When you had the guys on from Harder Than Contra,
Yeah.
and you had the Fibs on, which is probably the best band in
oh,
Birmingham
I fucking
right
love the
now.
Fibs.
And then you had the country girl.
Yeah,
I don't remember her
Linda
name.
Nicole Blair. She's awesome.
Yeah, Linda Nicole Blair. I mean, you've had some really cool ones where you're just like, that is cool. And if anybody doesn't know, you could probably find pictures of your stuff online, because I think you've sent them out for when you're like doing some of those episodes.
Yeah, I post them because now I have the Instagrams account. That's what I call it,
Yeah.
Instagrams, like a breakfast
Yeah.
cereal.
Grams in an instant. Grams in an instant.
So
Instagram.
yeah, occasionally I'll do the tweety twatty thing and send out
Yeah.
some pics there. So I try to throw something out there to the cosmos when I have a guest on.
Yeah, but you have a setup that is made for bands to come
Right.
in and record
Yeah.
with you. And so it's awesome because you go in and you have great sound, and then you have, an actual interesting conversation with these guys, not just your standard, oh, how'd you come up with this song?
it's I think when you interview people, I don't even like to use the word interview. I think you and I like to use the word hangout. So when we do hangout sessions, it should be, it's celebrating what you're doing, and the conversation should be, attributed to why do you do it, what keeps you doing it, what motivates you. And, if you're going to get into interviewee style questions, which I mean, you kind of have to ask them sometimes if it's but you have to make it different. You can't ask the same people the same questions. If I ask this question from the Fibs, I'm not going to talk to Harder Than Contra about the same fucking stuff, right? Otherwise, why am I doing two different shows? So
You might get the same fucking answer
yeah,
anyways.
absolutely. And then it
Why do you do
then
that?
It becomes
Because I enjoy it.
well, and then it becomes scripted, right? And then it becomes something that you fall onto. And that was my initial shtick for the show, was that I would always qualify the intro with, unscripted, unrehearsed, unpolished, unprofessional, because it was funny. But then as I got better at the show and I started polishing it a little bit, and I started kind of trying to make it, a little bit better, and I kind of dropped that moniker, but the concept is still there, right? It's meant to be and unprofessional in the sense that, I'm not trying to adhere to any standards by anybody else's standards. It's like, I'm going to do whatever the fuck I want to do, and I don't give two shits if you like it or not, and
Hell yeah,
and
man.
so that's, and that still holds true. So if I'm interviewing bands, it's still anything goes, right? It's still, it's not a magazine article, right? And I don't have to watch my language. I don't have to, worry about being offensive, In fact, if it's offensive, it's that much better as far as I'm concerned.
Right?
If I haven't offended somebody, I probably haven't done my job.
Something's not right.
Something's not right in the world. So,
Yeah, when it comes to just doing the hangouts, I know a lot of people will actually write down interview questions, questions they want to ask. I don't do that. I will go and research the person if I don't know who they are very well, and I'll go through and say, okay, they did this, they're doing this, they're doing this. And then that just gives me a realm of things that I can touch on, at least to keep the conversation going. But my goal is to have a conversation with somebody that has done some amazing things.
Right.
And have a conversation like we're sitting at the bar having beers together.
No, dude, I love that concept. And, there's somebody was asking me one time, like, well, if your show is unscripted and you have people on your show, how do you keep an eye on time? How do you keep an eye on this? How do you know? And I go, well, there's a difference between being unscripted and being unprepared, right? If I'm gonna have somebody on and it's somebody, I don't know, of consequence, which as far as I'm concerned, if you have a guest, they are of consequence. I mean, they're giving you their time. You should respect their time. But, it's it's okay to have a few, hey, I want to ask you this. I hope this is okay, but it shouldn't be like a list of shit. You shouldn't be reading off a piece of paper. Oh, and how about this? And how about this? And how about this? And how about this? And then it's just a one-ended, boring-ass conversation that's canned, and canned.
Yeah, I try to get them to speak on their, to go off. If you listen to our last episode with Uwe Boll, he just, and all I did was keep asking him just little questions to keep the conversation
so
going.
Here's, I listened to that this morning, which was fantastic, by the way, but you guys didn't hardly talk at all. That guy just went off.
No,
that guy went off for like an hour and a half straight.
Yeah, he was awesome. I need more guests like that.
Box me, you pussy. So funny. I was laughing out loud all day just over that one line. So fucking funny. So funny.
Oh, that's awesome. We're going to go up there. He's got a restaurant up in Vancouver called Bauhaus.
Hey, does he live in Canada? Is that his thing?
Yeah, he lives in Vancouver.
Gotcha. So it was great. It was a great show. I thought it was really funny, and I know that you guys had put out on your social media that, hey, if we get a chance, we're going to ask him all these questions, and what would you guys like us to ask? And of course, you got just a bunch of fucking hate mail over it, but. But you guys never got around to pretty much asking him any of that stuff, because it just the direction in fact. His conversational tone was really funny. He's clearly very comfortable talking about whatever he wants to talk about, and unfiltered as well. But some of that conversation, man, that just got really fucking deep and hardcore on the politics. Yeah, I didn't expect it to go there.
Yeah, he's very liberal,
right?
As you can tell, and he's got some real views on gun control.
Sure.
But I liked what he talked about. When he talked about gun control, it was interesting because it wasn't like, let's just take guns away. It was like, you should have steps for people to get guns, not just make it so readily available.
If we're going to get political for a second, I don't affiliate with a party. In fact, I believe that the American party-based system is completely fucked up. And I think that that's why things are the way they are, because we're so used to adhering to this whole two-party madness. But I think, I tend to stray more, towards more of the conservative side of things from a responsibility standpoint. But I think what was shocking about listening to his conversation, clearly him and I would probably disagree on a lot of things. However, his approach to backing up his statements was spot on. I mean, that's a smart dude. He clearly is passionate about what he believes, and he does whatever method of research he does, but he's got data that he stands behind unwaveringly, and for somebody who's not from this country to have a fairly in-depth knowledge of how the country works in some aspects is pretty nuts.
Well, he's lived here for a long time in America as well. And, he knows he's made a lot of money here based on all the movies he's produced here. And so he's got he's definitely lived the immigrant's dream, and he made it, and he's done a lot of cool things, and he's got some strong opinions, man. And whether you agree with what he said or not is, you can't deny, like you said, that guy is super smart, and he's likable. Yeah. He's really, really likable. And even if you don't like his movies, and if you haven't had a chance to go see any of them, he's. One of the things that cracked me up,
by all means,
I was so excited
go
to talk
watch
to him.
Alone in the Dark with Christian Slater and Tara Reid, and then you'll go fucking hang yourself. But
right. I mean, that's not for you, obviously. But like Blood Rain, a lot of people shit all over Blood
actually
Rain. I personally,
it's a pretty entertaining movie.
Liked it.
I mean, it's over the top.
It was
over the top.
Yeah,
and it didn't try to take itself as seriously as some of his movies do.
But if you go watch Rampage, dude. Go watch the Rampage trilogy. You will be shocked. It is an evolution I think it was an evolution of Uwe Boll's direction. I think he did great on this.
I just that guy cracks me up, man. His personality is through the roof.
Oh man, you should get him on your show.
Oh my god, I wouldn't know where to start.
You just say, "Hey, Dr. Boll, how you doing?"
Boll.
And then go from there.
Well, everything is shitty. Or whatever it was he said.
Oh yeah, he's
Things
great,
are going
man.
to shit.
I did not know what to expect. I didn't know if I was gonna even like him personally, because but dude, I loved that guy, man.
Yeah.
I was like, I will defend Uwe Boll to anybody now, because he was just so, I don't know, man. He was just so open and just like down to earth. And it just felt like everything he talked about and things he believed in, he really believed in it. Not as a way to, like he's talked about Alex Jones. And if you go and listen to that guy, I don't know, he believes in everything that he spouts.
Right.
I think he does everything and creates controversy just for money.
I think what I really got out of that conversation that you guys had with him, it just kind of solidified my already preconceived notion that this guy does not give a fuck what you think, right? This guy gets so much shit from the world. People shit on him every day. Every fucking day, you suck, you're terrible, your movies are garbage, you're a prick, you're dumb, you're hard to work with, you're this and that. And he's like, you know what? I make a living doing this. What the fuck do you do? Yeah. And so I have to catch myself doing that sometimes because it's really, we talked about that on that last Jedi stream that we did, it's really easy to sit back and shit on something that somebody else does.
When you even haven't, you've never done it yourself.
Yeah, I've never fucking done it. What right do I have to sit there and shit on somebody's fucking creation, And
right, Steven Spielberg comes out and shits on his stuff, then, hey, that's Steven Spielberg. He can do that with anybody.
Yeah, absolutely. Yes.
But so many critics online now that have, like music critics and movie critics and never written a song in their life, never, or had any type of success writing a song in their life. Or
in my background,
wrote a movie or anything.
When I was running restaurants and I was a chef for a long time. And, now with the advent of the Food Network and all these things, everybody's a fucking chef. Home chefs, professional chefs, whatever. Five-year-old kids have cooking shows now. It's fucking crazy. And, food critics, fuck you, food critics. Fuck you, food critics. I fucking hate food critics. And,
yeah, they're not out there doing shit.
What? Yeah, you're a... Yeah, don't even get me going on that. But, it's it's just crazy. And it's offensive. Even when they like your stuff, it's like you'll see a write-up on, hey, I agree with this guy. He likes this thing. But they're so pretentious. It's not like, hey, this steak was garbage or this steak was good. It's like, there was a quarter of a teaspoon too much salt in that marinade, and I can tell by the way that it soaked into the meat grains, and if they would have let it rest for 12 more minutes, fuck you, And that's kind of, I have to catch myself doing that when I criticize other people's shit. So I will go to my grave saying, I'm going to talk a bunch of shit about the dumb shit people do, but I'm going to try really hard to not talk shit about the things that people create. Okay? If you act like a dumbass, as far as I'm concerned, you're fucking fair game. Okay? If you put out something I don't like, maybe I'm going to try to find the positive in it. Maybe I didn't care for it, but maybe there was some element of it that I did like, to try to make it a constructive. You just can't like everything. You're not going to have the same opinions as people all the time. It's just not possible. And if everybody just copped and caved in every time somebody criticized them, well, we just have a bunch of fucking Borgs in this world. We would have one big collective of no personality fucking Borgs.
Fuck them. Fuck that.
Yeah.
Whatever. Yeah, man, I don't know, man. I think when you criticize, though, you just criticize about what the fuck they're doing, not the person.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think when you step over that edge where you start talking about the person personally, then you start crossing the line when it's just like, oh my God, fuck off. And the thing with like Uwe Boll, Johnny and I were talking about this, we kind of feel like because of the critics and how they are, they just shit on him because it's an easy write and they don't actually go and read. Right. Because if anybody actually watched the Rampage trilogy, you're going to go away with, holy shit, what the fuck did I just watch?
Right.
You know what I mean? Not, oh, that was shitty.
Right. Yeah.
Because it makes you think. Yeah. And he really does. And then he got so frustrated with the way he's been treated in Hollywood, he fucking just retired from directing. Yeah. Which is sad because I feel like he's made a big breakthrough with the Rampage trilogy.
Well, you know what? Though? You can always unretire.
That's right.
Take the cue from the sports guys. Right. You can go into retirement and come back out. You can go on one last world tour like all the bands do. We're getting the band back together.
Just do it, goddammit.
Exactly.
So we've been talking for almost an hour. Can you believe that shit?
God damn, what's wrong with you?
It goes quick.
I know.
I don't know, man. I'll have to We'll have to edit this down to like 2 minutes. No.
Just cut everything out that has my voice attached to it, and your show will be a success.
It'll just say Mike Peacock sucks. Kenrick's awesome.
Here's how the algorithm works. I go on your show, your downloads drop exponentially.
Your listenership is done.
Yep. If you ever had a chance of success, yeah. So big things.
No. So listen. If I've never listened to On the Edge, what is an episode you think that will get people in, or you think this is a good episode to start with to get an idea how my podcast generally is?
Well, it's kind of
sex dolls.
Okay, the sex dolls one being, not that I always want to say, hey, listen to my last episode, but that one's pretty funny.
Right.
I think that's a great one.
That's a great one.
And the fact that I got my wife to do the episode with me was even that much better.
Yeah, it's not like you guys were having a lot of fun.
It was hilarious.
Together.
And you run out of time. I mean, you think like, God, there's so much shit that, by the time we stopped recording, like, oh, we forgot this, oh, we forgot that. I could go back in and add it back in, but then it's done. The rhythm is done.
Or you could do a second one.
Yeah, we could do a second one, right? So go listen to Sexy Time with Dolls is the name of the episode. I think that also the episodes where if you really want to hear me go off and rant, the Pets at the Store episode, I got a lot of shit for that one. Hey, quick disclaimer: don't bring your fucking dog to the store, please. Do us all a favor, or the restaurant. Okay, enough said on that. So that's a great rant episode. As is the we'll say piles of New Year's ridiculousness, where I survived the holiday season in retail and talk about all the stupid.
Yeah, you kind of disappeared during that time.
Oh yeah, that's a tough time to record in November and December. It's really hard to get episodes out if you work retail because I'm in management and my schedule is never the same. It bounces every week based off what's going on in the industry. So, and there's a lot of stuff in the gaming industry. There's a lot of new announcements. There's a lot of new things coming down the pike, and it's kind of a nonstop source of material. Oddly enough, I haven't really delved into gaming a whole lot. I think there's a lot of gaming podcasts out there, and I have specifically avoided it. But I think that, with some stuff that's coming out this year, I'm looking forward to delving into possibly some game-related episodes this year. So,
oh, nice.
Yeah. Red Dead 2, man.
You should.
Red Dead 2.
Yeah.
It's going to be the one.
Oh, yeah. I've never played Red Dead. Everybody told me to play it. I was like, I'm going to play it. And then I never did. And now I feel like, well, now if I play it now, it's Johnny come lately. Yeah. So I might as well wait for the second
Jump on the bandwagon, Kenrick.
Right.
So, I say that, if you want to really check out what the initial concept was about, just go back and listen to some of those episodes that are just about the rants, and then if you want to check out kind of my interview style with the guests, you guys, Kenrick and Johnny from Spoiler Country, we did a double episode that I broke up into 2 episodes with them. Big, super long episode with Steve Kaminsky, which was very educational and informational. That was a really fun episode. And then Steve Fournier, the episode I talked to him about getting up on stage with Loverboy and with Fever 103.
Yeah, that was a great one. That was a great one for me personally because we've known Steve since high school, and he was a big part of our high school life. Sure. And it was so cool to hear him and talk about all that stuff that happened, especially with Loverboy and Everett there. That was awesome.
Yeah, and it's just every episode I do feel like is different. I don't feel like I retread too much ground. So it's hard for me to pick a favorite, but I get a lot of feedback from people. But I would say that the one that really got people going, the Pets at the Store episode really pissed a lot of people off. So because I called people out for being stupid. Yeah. So and
That's
here's my disclaimer though. So because I'm in the process of getting YouTube stuff squared away, I pretty much was using unlicensed music for the first half of my episodes of my show. So I had to go back and throw in some.
I know you used Metallica on ours, and I was like, "Oh, you're using that."
I used that song for you specifically, though, because there was a connection where when you and I first met,
That's right.
we were jamming out to Leper Messiah at Mark Shoemaker's house.
That's right.
And then of course, nobody else would get that connection. In my mind, it made sense.
Yeah, no, it made sense when I heard it. I was like, "Oh, that makes sense." But I was thinking, my lizard brain automatically went to, oh shit, dude, you're gonna get cut off like on YouTube or anywhere else.
So I'm in the process of going back, and just because I don't want to get I didn't really purposely like want to steal anybody's shit, but so I went back and I'm just adding in some other intro music, but it does kind of throw off the rhythm at first, because when I talk to music because I'm a musician. So the meter and everything is very rhythmically related. So when I try to change that,
that's cool.
It for me, people may not notice it. I notice it. So the Pets at the Store episode, to me, I thought was fantastic because I used Pets, the song Pets, which was Perry
the Jane's Addiction.
Yeah. And it was a great song. I felt like just the flow on that episode was really good, but then I had to go take the music out and put it in different music that I'm currently using, and so it's all fucking jacked up sounding. But
dude, your music tastes always crack me up, because like in high school you were so into like just that black metal, that just death metal, man. Just I can't, I couldn't even understand it, dude. I was like, I liked some of the guitar riffs, but that was about it. But then you would like just fall over backwards for Queensryche, and it was just like, what the fuck?
I still have a major hard-on for Queensryche, and I am super heartbroken about the very ugly breakup that they had. And it fucking broke my heart. But I'm still like a metalhead at heart. I love Cookie Monster music. Cookie, that's it's still my first love. But I definitely appreciate talent for what it is, and I like. Yeah. People ask me what my favorite kind of music is, and I go, well, I don't have a favorite kind of music. It depends on the situation. So I have a favorite. I have a favorite metal band, or I have a favorite folk rock musician, or I have a favorite.
Dude,
this.
I don't even care.
Porno for Pyros, by the way, that was not Jane's Addiction, but it was Porno for Pyros, which was born out of Jane's Addiction.
It was. Yeah, born out of Jane's Addiction. It's Perry Farrell.
Yep. So,
dude, when it comes to music for me nowadays, it's like I don't even care who it is anymore. Yeah. If I like the beat and I like the melody, then and if they have lyrics that I actually enjoy, then I could care less who it is. It could be Britney Spears for all I care.
Yeah, she is super talented as a songwriter. Hey, see, I'm
pulled her out of the air.
I'm trying not to talk shit now. I'm trying to be respectful of Dr. Spears.
That's hilarious. All right, man. Well, shit. Where can people hear you? Tell me, what is your website? How to get a hold of you on Twitter, your Facebook, all that shit to find out who On the Edge
is. So
yeah,
you can on the Book of Faces, you can just type in On the Edge with Mike Peacock, and you can find me there. Or the short form is just at On the Edge Podcast. Also at On the Edge Podcast on Instagrams. And I recently changed my Twitter name. It was at On the Edge I Am, but that was confusing people. So I did switch it to at On the Edge Podcast. But there's no A in podcast because Twatter is stupid with the amount of letters that you can put in there. So now I don't like that. I might switch back. Who knows? So because I'm crazy that way. So that's those are the three main ways. And then you can get a hold of me email. ontheedgepodcast@gmail.com, and I host through Podbean. So the Podbean website is ontheedgepodcast.podbean.com.
Perfect. Well, there you guys go. Get out there, listen to some On the Edge with Mike Peacock, and then if you get a chance, why don't you go to iTunes and give him 5 stars?
Oh, dude.
And leave him a review.
Give me 10 stars, even if you have to do 2 reviews to do it. That's the magic formula.
See, there you go. Just do it.
Awesome.
God damn it. Just do it. All right, man. Hey, well, thanks for coming on today. I appreciate it.
No, thanks for having me. It's I always love talking to you, man. It's like a blast from the past. So,
right.
And thanks to all of Spoiler Country's listeners for checking this out, and for all the Podcast Builders League and Washington State Podcasting Group. You guys are awesome.
There you go. Thanks, guys.
Right, thanks, Kendrick.
Okay. Well, there you go.
That was
How cool was that?
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, man. I mean, he's a cool guy.
That's as cool as an episode of our show can be without me on it. I mean, if we're being honest here.
Right. Not very cool, though, if you're not on it. It's not as fun.
Yeah. Right. I mean, I know the listeners all come to hear me talk. It's fine. I get it, but it's okay for you to have one by yourself sometimes.
I say nice things, and this is what I
get. No, it's awesome. I enjoy it. I like hearing it. It's funny. It's cool for me to hear a conversation on the podcast. It's, very much in tune with what we do that I'm not a part of, that I get talked about in, because then I hear... It's interesting to hear people talk about me and talk about what we do and talk about stuff on the show without me, because it's just it piques my curiosity bone, you know?
Well, it was funny with the whole intro.
Yeah,
because like I said, you know, I do it that way. One, because it just kind of naturally happened, right?
Right.
Because I kept doing the intro, and then if you go back and you actually listen, it gets more and more progressively like that. But now it's become, and
So
like I said, I do it because
trope.
it's like an energy thing, right? It
Right.
sets the tone and
It
gets
does.
us going. And now it's become like a signature. And so it's hard, you know. So when you did it like 20 episodes back, and you're not going to do it the way I do it. You're going to do it the way you do it. And in my head,
Right.
I was like, yeah, this is totally cool. Then you did it. And I was like, I can't fucking do this. I have to do it.
This is not cool. Not cool,
Well,
man.
That's not cool. It's just like, it's so different. You know what I mean? And it doesn't set the tone the same way that in my head, I'm like, it's hard to get into what we're talking about after that.
Yeah. At
Like,
someday I want to do it. Either us do it or have somebody do a supercut of the intro from the evolution of it going from, hi,
that'd be
welcome
funny.
back to Spoiler Country. This is Kenrick and John, you know, all the way up
Right.
to welcome back to Spoiler Country. You
Yeah,
know,
that'd be
all
funny.
The evolution would be great.
Yeah, that would be funny because it's just really exactly what it is. It's an evolution of it getting there. And then it was like, I don't, you know, when you did it, I was just like, in my head, because it's all like the preparation to get into the show, right? Everybody
Yeah,
has their little
yeah.
rituals of what they do to get things ready. And that's part of my ritual is doing the intro. And
It's doing it energetic to set the tone. Yeah.
yeah,
It's
yeah.
great.
And so when you do it, it's like, it's not that you do a bad job or anything like that. It's just so different that in my head, it's hard to get out of it.
Yeah. It's okay. I'll do it again sometime and I'll make you proud. Don't worry.
Oh, dude, you can do it anytime you want. I mean, just because I'm a, you know,
Anytime
weirdo
I want,
about
except
it.
when I want to do it. And you're like, no, I can't do this, man. Like last time I tried to do it. All right. To be fair, let's be honest here. Last time I tried to do it, you're like, no, I have to. I'm sorry. Okay.
Dude, you know what, to be honest and fair, that's totally true. Because you
Yeah.
went to go do it, and I was like, I can't fucking do this.
Well, when we did the Netflix ones, you're like, no, I got to do it. I'm like, dude, come on.
Well, no, because when we did the Netflix one, half the Netflix was recorded in September.
Well, no, we recorded all the intros all in one night before
Oh,
they
we
were
did?
done. Yeah.
Oh.
That's why the Netflix series is one of my favorite things ever because one, it's recorded backwards. Two, all the intros recorded without knowing what we actually talked about.
Right.
I love doing stuff like that. That's why I love on all of our interviews, people recording the intro before we actually talk to them because it's fun that way. Yeah, I liked it because it was all backwards and it's all done chaotically and we do interviews like we did with Uwe Boll. You know, we recorded the intro without talking to him yet, so we had like our thoughts going in before talking to him, and then we had our thoughts after talking to him.
Yeah.
I like doing it that way because then it makes it feels more organic and it feels more real to me to not not do the interview or do the show and then record an intro. Like today, you're going to listen to us talk about this. It's like, oh no, man, we hope we do this, and we get to see if we actually do what we say we're going to do.
Right. Like, well, one of the things that we were going to do with that one, and Mike talked about this, was the fact that we put out a thing on Twitter for people to ask, you know, what questions you wanted to ask Uwe Boll. And then we didn't get to any of them.
Right. I have a whole list of questions, and we didn't ask a damn one of them.
Yeah. He really liked that episode because he goes like,
Yeah.
man, you guys, you know, you didn't have to say anything really because he was going through, but
No,
the
he
guy was
quiet.
very articulate and, you know, he agreed with a lot of the stuff the guy said. It was pretty funny.
We should ask him to come back on and say, hey, can we come back on just so we can ask you all the questions we didn't ask you the first time?
He probably
Can
would.
we do a follow-up Q&A?
You probably would. All right, guys.
Probably would.
I think that's a show.
I think that's a show. You know,
Yeah.
doing these intro outros, we're going to talk forever if we don't stop it here. So let's stop here.
Yeah. Don't forget Mike Peacock, On the Edge with Mike Peacock. Go check it out. He's hosted on Podbean. He's on the Twitter twatter, as he likes to say, and the Book of Faces and the Instagrams. Those are all Mike Peacock euphemisms. So get out there.
Euphemisms.
Check him out. Did I say it wrong?
No, yeah, I was just making fun of the word, the way you pronounce it. You're fine.
Oh. I mean, there's a good chance I said it wrong. So if I say it wrong, let
There's
me
a good
know.
there's a good chance you said it right and I'm wrong too. So let's be fair. It's about 50-50.
Right. What was that? What was the word that we had a whole thing on?
Homage or homage.
Oh yeah,
Homage.
I always say homage, and you were saying homage, and it didn't end up being that we're both right.
Yeah. But you gave me so much shit for that.
I didn't give you so much shit for it. I just said, hey, I noticed that you said it this way because I thought that was the incorrect way of saying it, but I didn't make fun.
Yeah.
of you. Now I'm going to make fun of you.
My feelings. I'm crying on the inside.
Oh man!
All right, you can listen to us on iTunes, on Stitcher, on everywhere, on Google Play, on whatever you listen to podcasts
Anywhere
on. Open up and
podcasts
put in
are heard.
Spoiler Country. Exactly. Just search for us. We had 2 new subscribers today at work because I was at lunch today and 2 people I was having lunch with wanted to hear our show. So I grabbed their phones, opened up the Google Play app, and subscribed them to us for them.
You're welcome.
And I made sure to turn on automatic downloads for them. So you should do that too for yourself if you're listening.
We'll
automatically
take
download
up
the shows.
all the room on their phone.
Exactly. You know, I mean, it's fine. It's fine.
don't
They have
need
an option.
rooms
They have
for
an
your
option to
pictures.
auto delete after so many times. You know, it's fine. And you can talk to us at Google, or a little bit. You can interact with us on Twitter at spoiler_country, on Facebook, on Instagram. You can email us at spoilercountry@gmail.com. You can check out our website at scpod.net, which we're in the process of updating. I'm adding some. I feel like I'm always updating the site, but I'm adding some new content to it and adding some new.
Johnny's so nice.
new
When he
features to make it
says
faster.
we are in the process, it's really he is in the process.
Well, I'm not trying to be like, I don't want to like, oh, it's all me, it's all me. It's us. You know, you have ideas. I talk to you about what I'm doing, and we create things together.
Yeah, but it's just funny because when it comes down to the actual workload, you tend to just do it. But you got OCD or something, and you'll just start doing it.
I have the insane. I can't stop. If I want something done, I just have to do it.
I know sometimes I
won't
have
stop.
to ignore you on the phone because you won't stop asking me questions.
Now you said you were busy. You said you were busy.
If I tell you I'm busy, I'm busy. But it's kind of funny because you'll be like, because you'll ask me like 80 things in a row about something that's going on. I'm just like, oh my god, dude, I want to go to sleep.
What he's trying to say here is, don't be my friend and expect me to not spam text you all night long if I have questions or thoughts or if I'm thinking about something.
I know.
Just ask Dennis. Dennis and I will talk for like hours, and all of a sudden I'll be like 2 in the morning. I'm like, dude, I gotta go to bed, man.
It's worse because we're family, so I can't get away from you.
I know. You're stuck with me, dude, forever, or until Katie wises up. You know.
All right, guys.
That's it. We're done.
Don't forget to open your mind and read more.
See ya.
Oh my lord.